What's up, guy? What is up, guy? Welcome back to season 2 of what Josué has to say. This is my first episode of season 2. I didn't get canceled the first season, but I think I'm off to a good start on getting canceled.
Don't tell her to come back.
So, the first episode, I decided to drop a big one, a bombshell episode, in my opinion. It's something that I feel it's particularly important for every Miamian, not just parents, to be involved with, because this will affect us in the long run, in the short run, and it's our tax dollars at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. So the topic at hand is, long story short, Miami-Dade public school system has paid millions of dollars in hush money towards teachers who have sexually assaulted and engaged in sexual behaviors with students. And as a byproduct, the school system has been protecting these teachers. There's also an alleged sex scandal with the superintendent who plays a part into all of this, involving the Miami Herald. So this shit is about to get spicy.
You know?
To help me out with this matter, I got two lovely ladies here joining me, one which is a returning guest and one a brand new guest. We got Miss Linda Catalina.
What's up?
And
Back again.
Yeah.
Second time. We made it again.
We made it, baby. And we got Red Pill Babe Bella.
And I got in. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for joining. Okay, so Linda, go ahead and give the viewers, listeners and viewers, a little background.
Okay, so I'm back. My name is Linda Catalina. I'm a local activist. I think I became more of an activist. Most of us did after COVID. I was more of a social media, I guess you'd say, personality or influencer, mostly posting memes, videos, whatnot. I've really slowed down on the content the last year and just kind of focused more on issues here at the local level that, you know, we can utilize our relationships, our connections, and obviously our platform to inform the locals and the public about things like this, like scandals at the school level, any protests, whatnot, that's going on.
Yeah, issues that we should all be informed on, aware
Yeah,
of.
absolutely.
Bella?
I'm Bella. Everybody knows me as Red Pill Babe on the internet, where I exist.
You sound like one of these like sex hotlines.
Seriously?
Stop.
Hi, this is Red Bull Babe Hotline.
We're already off to a great start. Yeah. So I'm a conservative content creator on the internet and a digital thought provoker. And then I do a lot of activism and scare commies in real life when I'm not on the digital battlefield. I met Linda online on the internet. We both had pages that were posting similar content, and then we met in real life, and like instantly we're like, all right, this is destined, meant to be.
Yep.
And since we've come together, we've kind of realized that there's a lot of things going on in Miami-Dade County that are real shady, that mainstream media doesn't cover the same way that it doesn't normally cover, you know, conservative issues on national platform. They don't do it at a local level either, and that's why we're here.
Wild.
Because we became the medium.
Yeah.
So I first learned about this via Linda and Red Pill Babe's Instagram accounts, because like you said, the media doesn't cover this, and how is it that something so big, you know, the regular Miamian doesn't find out about us and doesn't hear about? How is this not news? How is this not things that, you know,
I mean,
Do you want to go first?
I mean, there's a lot of reasons.
Yeah, I think, you know, the articles that we did post, it's more like local news, like we've seen it on Channel 10 and stuff like that. I think that, and the Miami Herald did post some of it. I think that maybe it's not, you know.
That it doesn't get posted. Is that it doesn't get amplified.
Yeah.
So there's no outrage about it.
Right.
So they'll sneak it into, you know, page 5 of the Herald on a Tuesday, and you won't even notice that this is news because, you know, you're caught up on going to work and raising your families and getting home and doing your laundry and existing.
Yeah.
And the media takes advantage of that. And, I mean, they can't not post about it, so they will. But then the next day will come, and you'll never hear about it again. And then they amplify the stories that they want to amplify and hide the stories that they don't want people talking about.
Yeah, well, it's sensationalism. The media wants to focus on, you know, what's driving the most division in this country, what's going to get people angry, what's going to sensationalism. That's really what they focus on. So to them, this is like, okay, we'll cover it because, you know, maybe enough people heard about it or we can't. But then there's the incident, like I'm sure one of the first ones you're going to bring up, where the settlement literally tells the defendants that they can't talk about the case. because they don't want to
Specifically
ruin
about the school
you
board.
know, like basically like hush hush money specifically about the school board, specifically about the county district, because they don't want to ruin their reputation. And I think those are the things that we can focus on and really try to get the message out to the public. That's like, why are they trying to, you know, silence children, you know, teens that were sexually assaulted by these teachers who are supposed to be protecting them? And then how is it that the district is overlooking these teachers who are sexual predators?
Yeah.
So there's
And that there's really nothing being done proactively to stop it. Like there's certain things that the school board's supposed to already be doing that they're not or haven't implemented. And I think that, you know, to get back on topic on how it is that it brings attention, I think that people, when Linda's talking about sensationalism, like people will follow these stories at a national level when they're happening somewhere else. But nobody takes the time to research to see, is it happening in my county? Is it happening in my city? And it's unfortunately, I think that we've gotten to a time where research is such a personal thing, right? Like truth is such a personal thing. You can no longer rely on the press to tell you the absolute truth at all
Zero.
times or to guide where your interest should be. It's really got to be up to each individual to take that responsibility. So yeah, it's the headlines that are going to cause sensationalism are, you know, people in Miami getting arrested for January 6th or you know,
that's what the
Trump had a
Miami New
Diet Coke.
Times would write about.
Right, if
mostly,
Governor
or
DeSantis, whatever.
They love Enrique Tarrio from the Proud Boys.
Yeah, they're
And Josh
number one
Ceballos
fans.
has a really big crush on this guy. So that's it. Miami people don't really care about that. I mean, I think they would. And we had a conversation with the Miami New Times about this, you know, asking them, like, why wouldn't you guys publish this? Like, you're supposed to be the media. Like, we're doing the job.
What did they say?
Oh, it's like.
They didn't have enough people to keep up with every story.
Because they're,
And our argument was, well, you know, kids are getting raped in Miami-Dade County.
And you focus on,
That's not a
like, the
big enough
Proud
story.
Boys or whatever.
Right. Like,
You
how many
know?
articles can we talk about the Proud Boys?
Yeah.
Speaking of those articles, let me go by some of the headlines, I guess, from the ones that were actually published. And
Yeah.
I think these were all, I'm not sure if these were, some of these I think were Miami New Times, some of these I think were Miami Herald. But
No, if they're about kids getting raped, none of them are Miami New
none of them
Times.
are Miami New Times?
Not one of them.
Okay, so then these are not that.
Maybe.
So, Miami-Dade high school teacher charged with lewd and lascivious, I don't know how to pronounce that, another fail by Miami school board, there you go, molestation of 2 girls. PE teacher arrested and fired after sexually battering students, cops say. Hialeah middle school teacher jailed after cops say she had sex with a teen boy in cars over months. Jury orders a Miami-Dade school board to pay $6 million to student and teacher sex abuse case. That's fucking wild. You, quote, you fucking monster, quote, in court, former student confronts Miami ex-teacher who raped her. Ferguson senior high school teacher arrested accused of sex acts with a student. Florida drama teacher accused of having sex with her 14-year-old student in her car. There's a ton of these.
Yeah.
It's
There's, like,
Yeah, we're not
insane.
talking about just
Yeah.
1 or 2 isolated cases. Like, we're talking
It's
about
like 12 cases.
no, it's 12 cases, each case with several victims.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a lot of kids getting raped.
Yeah.
And then,
And
you
some
know,
of these teachers, they
they-
just
they
move them from
stayed-
school to school. They stay in the district.
correct. And you'll see
They don't
the
get-
article time and time again, stayed in the school system, maintained in the
Yeah.
school system, moved to another school. It's like
One of those cases is that, because I posted it. That teacher had
Jason-
been moved to another school.
Jason was moved to Palmetto by Carvalho.
something like
Jason
that.
Myers.
Jason
So
Myers.
That's the first one that I have here.
Jason Myers had been moved to a different
Yeah.
they had made complaints about him and the superintendent moved him quietly
Yeah.
to another school.
So in the article, it says, in a verdict about him, Jason Myers, in a verdict late Friday, jurors concluded that the school district, despite multiple warnings, did nothing to stop Jason Edward Myers, a creative writing teacher. The verdict found Myers, quote, posed a substantial risk of sexual abuse or harassment to female students, quote, yet the district was, quote, deliberately indifferent, quote.
They've had, and I mean, you know, again, the stuff that catches the headlines. There's for a very long time, there's things that the school board is supposed to be doing. So, for example, protocol. Every classroom is supposed to have a poster that tells teachers how to report, potential cases for students, a number for students to call.
Right.
I don't know if it's every classroom or somewhere in the building. Point of the matter is that there was investigations done by the Homestead Post, a local publication, and they found that there are no schools in Miami-Dade County following this protocol with the posters.
Yeah.
So it's like,
What is it? A lack of
I
practice?
it
or-
all
a
comes
lack
from
of
the-
practice.
yeah.
I've talked to, and again, this is allegedly, but I've had Miami-Dade County School Board cops come into my platform and my DMs and tell me that there are crimes that take places in schools, like fight, for example. I mean, you guys went to school in Miami-Dade County.
Yeah.
Our fights are a pretty average thing to see at
Yeah,
every
absolutely.
high
It's
school.
almost every day.
And I think that there was like a full year where no fights were reported anywhere in the Miami-Dade County public school system. That's all under Carvalho's order. Carvalho is the poster boy of the education system.
Carvalho is the superintendent, for those that
Superintendent.
don't.
Correct.
Now going to LA.
Now sneaking his way
relocating.
away from
Yeah,
us
yeah, yeah.
and on his way to LA. And, Carvalho is the golden boy of education on a national level. He's received recognition as the national best superintendent in the country or whatever, accolades it is that he's received with a lot of national recognition. And a lot of the recognition came from what he did with the Miami-Dade County School District and how he turned us
turned
into
it
an A,
around,
turned us
yeah.
around, and all these other things. And it's like, well, he was cooking the books the
Yeah.
whole time.
They don't tell you how they changed the metrics and how they similarly to we won't talk about COVID, but similarly to what they do to other stuff that we're seeing, it's like, well, they don't tell you how he changed these metrics in the school
loopholes in the
system, the
background.
loopholes to make it a school or to make it seem like everything is so great and whatnot.
It's business as usual.
It's usual, this happens in every area, I think of.
It's all smoke and mirrors, and
Yeah.
and it's I think that one of the biggest I'm not sure if you were headed here, but one of the biggest things that I've found in our search with the school board and simultaneously with the teachers union, because you can't talk about one without the other, is
So what is the relationship, for those that don't know, between what is a school board, what is a teachers union? A lot of listeners, I didn't know what this was. So I'm sure there's lots listening that need clarification
Okay.
on what
So
they are and what their relationship with each other are.
as a public citizen, you vote on your school board. Okay, there's 9 school board,
9 districts,
nine
here in Dade
districts,
County.
right? And you vote on these every 2 years. Either they get reelected or you vote a new one in. So these are people that work for the government, for the Miami School District.
Elected officials.
These are elected officials, and they represent 9 different districts of Miami-Dade.
So we as citizens elect them.
We as
Correct.
citizens elect them, and then they vote on a superintendent.
They select a superintendent.
They select a superintendent. Those 9 school board teachers,
It's
sorry,
school board members.
school board members. Sorry, and Caballo
teachers.
has been in power for 12 years. Well, now he's gone.
We've got people sitting on the school board that have run unopposed since the 80s.
Yeah,
Wow.
there's like dinosaurs in that school board, like literally like dinosaurs. You
The
know?
only candidates that get switched out are the candidates that get the money from the teachers union bumped into them. So one of the things.
So what is a
that-
teachers
wait,
union?
Okay.
Yeah,
let's
go ahead.
further. So the teachers union is not an elected body by the people. This is what it's private, right?
Do they operate as a non-for-profit? Or?
I don't
No,
know,
it's not
you
a
know-
non-for-profit because they've got dues. So
Yes.
I'm not
so
sure.
the teachers union is basically is supposed to represent like the teachers' best interests, and the general public, they say, right? And
of the well, they're there to protect, like any other union, the rights of the workers,
Right,
right?
okay.
So
Right.
they're there to represent the
Doesn't seem
worker
too
rights.
seems
Well,
logical.
right, they want to
Yeah.
keep teachers safe and
give
the
them better
workers
pay.
and better pay.
They'll negotiate with the district with Carvalho for
Correct.
better pay.
Just
So-
like any other union, making
Right.
sure that teachers are safe and well paid and that things are fair.
but everything is corrupt. So
Everything.
you go look at who donates to these people, who the teachers union, they'll be like
all
undisclosed
political.
notion, like undisclosed. It wasn't there
Oh,
like $1 million?
that's cheesy. That's the good stuff.
Yeah,
What we found out was that basically the teachers union had operated, I think, with something like $30,000 like within their entire budget for their entire existence from the moment that they're enacted, the Miami, which is the United Teachers of Dade, which is the Miami-Dade County Teachers Union. The United Teachers of Dade had basically operated with these, $30K in the bank account for most of their inception, and then magically at some point in 2016 they received like $1 million donation,
From?
and we have
No,
no
it's
idea. It's a
undisclosed.
secret,
It's
undisclosed
undisclosed.
location, and
donation.
What a good
But
But they
Samaritan.
also
What a
get
good
money.
Samaritan.
They also
Around
get
the same
money
time-
from the teachers' pay.
now around the same time they bring in their teachers Miss Carla Matz.
I don't know when
Comes
Carla
in.
Matz came in. I'll be lying. if I
Carla
told you.
Matz comes in.
Who is
Maybe we
Carla?
should
Don't
look it
quote
up.
me on the year of the donation. Anyways, Carla Matz comes in.
Who is
Carla
she?
Matz is the
Carla Matz
president.
is the president of the United
Teachers of Dade.
We call her Carla Marx. Like,
She
Karl
is.
Marx.
She doesn't like parents being involved in the civic process. She doesn't like
she's
parents
a
at school
social
board
justice.
meetings.
She's a social justice warrior.
The
That's what
reason-
she is, and a communist.
The reason why she hates it is because what we've found in our research is that there is an overreach of federal power
yeah.
that is using teachers unions to influence school boards and therefore influence local politics.
Right.
The teachers union should be concerned with how much teachers get paid and their benefits
rights.
and, you know, that they're not working too much overtime or whatever it is. Not to mention that, by the way, while we're at it, the average teacher salary in Miami-Dade County is $44,000 and caps at, I believe, $82,000. Anybody who lives in Miami-Dade County understands what that means. We've got receptionists in Miami that get paid the same, sometimes more, than the entry-level teacher does after
Right.
graduating college, right? So what they've done is that instead of focusing on making sure that these teachers are, I don't know, paid properly so that they're not communists,
Yeah.
they focus on things like elections and like mail-in voting.
Yeah. Like
and
they're doing
COVID.
activism for the Democratic Party. That's
So-
what they're doing.
But how so?
They're activists.
Let's talk about this. They have
They can
there's
donate to
an open
candidates. They
case
back
right
up
now, an
candidates,
open
no?
investigation. There's an open investigation where it was discovered that the teachers unions, the top national teachers unions, there's small teachers unions and then there's the bigger national ones. The national teachers unions were caught bribing individuals at the CDC.
Oh, that's right.
Were
For
caught
what?
political
for school board
to
openings.
change mandates that would
Sorry,
stop them
school
from
openings,
doing
yeah.
school openings and mask mandates. But here's the thing that most people
And
don't
they were
realize:
caught.
they were
Yeah.
caught. This is
Who operates these investigations?
I mean, the same corrupt FBI that is in charge of handling all the investigations.
Right now, too, I'm sorry to cut you off, but right now, on Saturday, an article came out saying that the National Education School Board, which is like
Mm-hmm.
basically like the big dogs of the school unions, they're like falling apart. They're like on their way down
Right.
of almost not existing because they were the ones that influenced the Biden's Department of Homeland Security to put out that letter basically calling parents domestic terrorists for showing up at these school board protests, and they were caught. So then there's national outrage, and
As there
there's
should be,
as there
right.
should be, and then there's school like
Yeah, this is
school
happening
board-
all over the
this is
country,
happening.
right?
it's all
Remember,
inter-
we
it's all
had
a big deal.
interconnected.
This
It's a
is-
web.
It's
We
a
ha-
web.
where was it?
Correct.
Was it
This
in-
is not like an isolated Dade
It's a
County
web.
issue. This is a web.
Well, when I tell you
know?
that there are right now, the federal government is overreaching on your everyday rights by using teachers unions and school boards to affect you. When we started the podcast, you said that every citizen should know about this, not just parents. I preach about this all the time. The school boards influencing the CDC, there's no special rules that just apply to schools. Those rules have to apply to all indoor spaces. What that means is that the bribes that the school board, that these teachers unions, because it wasn't the school board, I'm sorry, these bribes that the teachers union were trying to make to influence the CDC didn't just affect your kids in school. They affected you at restaurants. They affected you at your workplace. So even if you don't have kids, somehow the teachers union had their hand in you, whether you had to wear a mask or go in or whatever it may be. So it can also be correlated by the fact that the FDA had several C-level executives step down a few months ago. And when asked why, they stated that there was an overreach from the CDC into decisions that should have been made by the FDA. All coincides with the fact that these people were getting influenced by these local teachers unions. So now,
Look at all the power these teachers unions have.
Yeah.
you think
Well,
kindergarten
Karl
teachers
Marx-
aren't trying to take over the world?
Carla Marx was campaigning for Biden. She was campaigning for Danielle Levine Cava. She campaigned with the crackhead. What was his name?
Gillum.
Gillum, Andrew Gillum. they're activists. Like she went to jail.
She went to jail in DC.
She went to jail in DC.
Carla Marx?
Yeah.
Carla Marx, because she
low-key insurrectionist. She was in
something. Yeah, I
DC.
guess she's an insurrectionist. Wow, I didn't even know. Wow, Carla Marx, insurrectionist. I like that.
That's amazing.
She something about DACA. I don't know. She was at a protest. I guess it got rowdy and they arrested her, but it had to do with the DACA, with the.
But still, she's an activist. Nonetheless, she's a political
you know,
activist.
and then she's the head. She's supposed to represent, in a bipartisan,
An unbiased, bipartisan organization.
yeah, to represent all teachers. There's also conservative teachers. It's not just like Democrat teachers. And she's not. She's an activist.
Let's talk.
Wow.
You
She's
know,
an activist,
do you
you know?
recall?
That's a conflict of interest.
Was it
Yeah,
in,
of course, it's extremely. They're extremely corrupt. I think the theme of last year was exposing the teachers unions and the counties, and that's actually why Virginia went red.
Yeah.
Virginia went red because the new governor was campaigning for parents, was campaigning against the teachers union, the school boards, and stuff like that. And the first executive order that he signed 2 days ago, or Saturday, whatever day he became governor, was prohibiting the school districts from masking kids. So now he's gonna fight with them. Now he may withhold money like DeSantis was doing to the school districts because they want to mask the kids. And we have her name is Teachers for Truth on Instagram. She's an activist. She's a teacher that has turned into an activist on all this COVID stuff. And she's actually in Virginia. She campaigned for Glenn. And she's posting since yesterday, dude, her stories are wild. She's posting all these screenshots of teachers complaining about the new governor. Like, I'm not going anywhere, these kids without a mask.
Oh,
if
we're
these
used to
kids,
that.
I'm already thinking of how I'm gonna separate these kids if they can't wear a mask. And like the teachers are like pissed off.
which we have that
on
here in
Facebook.
Miami-Dade
Oh, yeah, we
County,
have
by
that
the way.
here.
Sure we do.
Just so that we're clear,
Yeah.
like all of their private Facebook posts, we get to see all of them, and all they do complain all day long is how they're going to treat kids that are
differently.
They're
They're
from the ones that are.
So to circle back to the original topic, do these teachers unions have anything to do or made any remarks towards the sexual misconduct that these teachers
No.
They have addressed it. I saw
They've made small-
They may make statements,
Press
like,
statements that are
yeah.
necessary right after the
Right.
scandal first breaks, and then it's never talked about again.
Right.
As I'm sure you saw the content that we've recently been posting, there's literal parents being silenced at school board meetings when they bring it up. So the sheer mention of bringing up the fact that kids were raped and that they were made to sign a non-disclosure gets your mic shut off as a
Yeah.
parent.
That's something that I wanted to bring up later on in the.
There's definitely a coordinated effort to silence parents. What I will
Yeah.
tell you is this: Linda and I put in a lot of effort into generating hype, for lack of a better word, and getting people involved and
Yeah.
showing up to these school board meetings. On one of the first school board meetings that we knew we had like a really heavy presence on,
July, I think.
yeah, Carla showed up, and it was the first introduction that we got to Carla Matz. And Carla Matz went up. We had rallied with all these. We had gotten all these parents together. They showed up with their kids. They had signs. They were excited.
Yeah.
The school board was even so taken back. They even made a statement like, in all my years of
'Cause they're not used to-
operating the
you're not
school
used to
board,
seeing that.
I've never seen this
Never.
before. Carla Matt's welcome to parents who had never been involved in school board meetings before was to call every single parent a crazy right-wing extremist conspiracy theorist, accuse people of not having kids in the school board, accuse
Right-wing extremists. And she even mentioned the election, which was so
she
irrelevant.
mentioned that it was all
So
political,
irrelevant, you know?
that she had seen, I guess, somebody wearing a MAGA hat or something, and it triggered her. So it was
She's
clearly
been
all
so-
political.
She's been so nasty to parents.
Well, she's an
and-
activist herself.
And she's an activist, right? But,
Absolutely.
you know, again, she's supposed to be
vile,
unbiased.
she hit some one of the attendees of a school
Yeah,
board
she
meeting.
definitely did
She
assault him.
didn't
I
like.
don't care if it was just a push.
It doesn't
She
matter.
assaulted him.
She didn't
Yeah.
like that he got in her face and was asking her, "Hey, are you Carla Matz? You're no good." And she proceeded to tell him, "Get out of my face,
think I
man,"
saw-
and
I
get
saw
real
that
highly
video.
a ghetto on her.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a real high.
Yeah, she has
To
been
let it all out.
demeaning and vilifying parents from the moment that they started showing up because there's never been pressure on the school district.
They've never seen the pressure.
So now, you know, and then we know how they operate. They operate.
Well, then let's talk about the other, their other favorite face at every school board meeting, which is the PR firm. The same PR firm
yeah.
that represents the school board and that represents Carvalho is the same PR firm that represents the teachers union. And
Oh, but that makes sense, no?
yeah, I guess it does. It's also a PR firm where the president of the PR firm sat on with the Obama administration. They've got ties to some.
So it's political ties,
There's a lot of
There's a lot of
political
shady
ties.
stuff.
There's a lot of
which can
really
sway
shady
decisions
stuff
and-
that can sway. There's definitely Democratic money involved in the teachers union. That's not a secret. I mean, you can tell by donations. So there's a lot of Democratic money there, and therefore there is clearly a political influence in the causes that the teachers union uses to represent or speak on, or the interest that they're out to protect. It's
Jesus.
definitely not the parents.
Yeah, they want to protect the image.
Right.
I want to go back and read through some of these cases a little bit more in detail.
Just to be
Go
clear,
ahead.
we've got the third, this is why, if this makes noise, we're done. We've got the fourth biggest school district in the entire country, and one of the most influential school districts in the country. One of the most influential teachers union in the country. What the teachers union does here in Miami-Dade County resonates with the rest of the nation.
How so?
They are that influential. Carla Matz is very well known. She's the VP. She sits on the board of the Federal Associate, the FAT, is it? Something along those lines. The second biggest national teachers union. Carla sits on, she's a VP of that. So there's, again, a lot of influence. We've got the national recognition of the Golden Boy of Carvalho. Then our city, I know we're only talking about the school board right now. We don't want this to go on for 4 hours, but we live in a literal swamp.
Swampy.
So they always use Miami-Dade as an example. So think about it. Miami-Dade having a huge fight with Ron DeSantis, who says you're not going to mask the kids. And then Golden Boy Carvalho's like heck we are. Yeah, we are going to mask your kids. So much so, it turns into the fight between the school boards and Ron
governor.
DeSantis, our governor.
Wasn't it?
Well, forget national news. The president of the United
Oh, yeah.
States of America labeled parents
Domestic terror.
domestic terrorists.
That was pretty wild.
And he
But
told
again, that came from the national
School Board
the main-
Association.
Exactly. Which now they're about to be dismantled. Basically, everyone's leaving them, and
It's all
and
going down
it's
the
all
same way
going
that
down.
Carvalho
They're
went
burning.
down.
They're burning. Yeah. But go ahead.
In what way is it going down?
Well, I told you, they made the mistake of labeling parents as domestic terrorists, pressuring.
Oh, so you mean they're getting pushed?
pressing-
They're
They're
getting pushed.
getting
They're
the
getting
pushback.
so much
That's- okay,
backlash.
gotcha.
Number one, there's like different school boards, like state school board associations and teachers unions. Sorry, teachers union. Is it the school board?
Well, I mean, you can't fuck with people's kids, and
No.
you're the taxpayer at the same time that are
But
paying
there's
salaries.
people,
like-
there's like, I guess they're the national one, and don't quote me on this, and there's like state ones that I guess like belong to them as an association or whatever. The point is that there's a bunch of them that have like disassociated themselves from them because they made that mistake, and now they're receiving backlash from, I guess, their members, from parents, from everybody.
Well, because
you
it's a
know?
movement now.
It's a
right?
movement.
It's a movement.
Yeah.
I'm proud to say that me and Nino were at the forefront of that.
Absolutely.
It's I think we were at the forefront of that, and it's something that we're proud of because we've been able to kind of see that movement blow up, right?
Yeah.
And I think that what it is that people were just so frustrated, right? Of like watching the news, watching critical race theory, watching the kids stay masked, like the frustration. What can we do? How do we say to our kids that it finally gave them an outlet? It's like, guys, it's simple. Get involved in the civic process. Show up to your school boards. Bring your friends. It doesn't matter if they
You're
don't
the
have
only one that
kids.
can make a difference
So
there.
you're the
Yeah.
only one that can save
It's
yourself.
supposed to be we the people. There's always like
Right.
this, like we the people, and people wear it in shirts and stickers and hats.
And people
it's
saw
like,
that.
well, we the people. It's you taking back your district, your county,
country,
your
wherever.
commission, showing up, asking questions, holding people accountable.
Yeah, we
No
have
one
no
does that because
business-
everyone's busy.
We have
you
no
know?
business in Miami-Dade County focused on what Nancy Pelosi is doing. It's over.
She's
National news, precisely. National news is over. No one
Yeah.
cares. They control the entire national narrative. You know what they can't do? They can't steal every election in every county, in every city, for every position.
Yeah.
They can't do that. They can't stop you and when your friends showing up to school board meetings and overwhelming them. Like, You don't need hundreds of people to show up to these things. This is what people don't realize. These elected officials are so used to going completely unchecked that simply having 5-6 people show up, having 7-9 people make phone calls in, that's overwhelming for them because they're not used to getting that kind of negative attention or pushback.
They just take advantage of the lack of attention that
Correct. Absolutely.
that civilians,
Right.
Absolutely.
give the
Imagine,
system.
think about it. We're the boss, and we're letting our
Cats
workers-
away the mice.
And I think it's their entitlement of like, what are you guys doing here? Or like the people that
Well,
try
because
to
it's been
silence
like
us are
that for such a long
yeah,
time.
it's like, well, you don't belong here. It's like, who the fuck are you? I
Show
can
us
go
your
wherever
true
the hell I
colors.
want. I can go to the commission meeting. I can go to the school board meeting. I can do whatever I want. I'm a taxpaying citizen. It's an open to the public.
It's a public building.
And-
because they love
and-
telling us that we don't have kids and that we
yeah, you
shouldn't
don't
be
have
there.
kids.
Like hell,
You don't
we're
have
not.
kids.
We're taxpayers.
Well,
We're gonna be there.
Number one, we're taxpayers. Number two, we moms reached out to us, and moms reached out to us to help them get people to
Get
the
the
school
word
board
out.
meeting, and we gladly help them. It's not like, we're doing this to like.
We're not
piss off
trying to lead a
parents.
revolution.
Yeah, no, it's like
of
if
school boards.
yeah, if
It's like it's even though I guess that it looks like it's going to turn like that
Yeah.
because moms are the only ones angry enough in this country
Right.
to take any kind of action against political figures.
Right.
Which is why it's where we're seeing the biggest difference right now is that school boards are flipping red.
Yeah.
School boards are flipping red, and they
moms
should
are
be
getting
scared.
involved.
Not only are moms getting involved, people are putting money into local campaigns. People
Right.
are running.
Look at Moms for Liberty. We'll get to that in a
FYI,
little bit.
we're going to get to that right now. But just an FYI so that people know you don't need to be a teacher to run for the school board. It's a part-time job. Anybody can do it. We've got people sitting on our school board that don't even have teaching licenses because they've been revoked.
right.
We've got an accountant sitting on our school board that plans to run for Doral mayor, an accountant. So you regular person at home, specifically you individuals that have gotten fired from your jobs, maybe you were a nurse, maybe you were a doctor, something along those lines, and now you find because you wouldn't comply with these mandates or whatnot, it is a perfect opportunity for you to consider getting into politics, not because politics is some kind of career that you should pursue, but because, again, it's our civic duty to be involved. We cannot get mad and at every politician out there for not having the views that we want them to have. If they're not going to do it, kick them out and get in. Find someone better. A lot of people don't realize that too often the biggest problem is that not enough people want to be involved in the civic process, in the political system. We've got open seats in Miami-Dade County, like elected official seats in Miami-Dade County that are sitting wide open because nobody runs in those districts.
Wow.
We've got individuals elected in this city time and time and time, election cycle after election cycle, elected by default because nobody runs against them. So you can't complain about politics and then sit at home
Yeah.
and wonder, when is somebody going to do something? Well, get your ass up. It's you. You got to do
Yeah.
something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to circle
Okay.
back to some of these cases
Circle
to
back.
really
Circle back like Jen Psaki. I'll circle back to you on that.
we'll circle back.
We'll circle back.
To really
Circles.
get into like the details of these things and how it is that the school board is kind of getting away with all this. I mean, we went through the first guy, Jason Myers, which we said he got the student got paid out $6 million in hush money, signed an NDA, and then he got relocated,
Yeah.
which is insane.
Yeah.
Well, he got relocated prior to the lawsuit and the whole nine. Point of the matter is there was, with that story, there was complaints about him as a teacher. And before it turned into a scandal, they just moved him to another school. And that's just the thing that we know. It's an overwhelming amount of stories in Miami-Dade County. We're talking about over 25 victims altogether. I think over 12 cases that have been reported just in the last, since the time that Carvalho has been here. How about, what don't we know?
Is, how do they get away with it?
Right, but that's the thing.
'Cause-
How much do you think we don't know about?
But I think it's what you just said, and it's what I've been complaining to the MAGA crowd online. People are not involved in their local politics. So if the news comes out, right, on Channel 10, which is not the Washington Post or CNN or whatever, it's Channel 10, the reach is a lot less, number one, right? Unless like you're paying attention, you follow those things on Instagram, whatever. It may make the Miami Herald, so you may see it, and it may make the Miami New Times, maybe you'll see it. Point is that parents don't care, they're not involved. Most people just want to be left alone. They want to,
they care, but they just don't have the time. I'm working. I can't. Oh, I got work. I've got plans.
So it's too late.
But it's like, Josue, how have they gotten away with so many things beyond the school board? That you're like, how the hell did they get away with this? How the hell did they get away with that? Like, look at the whole Epstein thing. You know, like there's so many. They get away with it because they can.
We're at work.
You know,
right? But you would think when it involves kids as
Yeah.
parents, people would get more. This is another case. Miami schools paid $9 million to 5 students raped by ex-teacher,
right.
then tried to keep it quiet.
That's Gibbs. That's the one that
That's
they made.
Gibbs.
They made the
That's
students, as part of their settlement agreement, they made them sign a non-disclosure agreement that prevented them from talking negatively
To
about
the
the school
media.
board to the media.
$9 million, and that's all
Yeah.
taxpayer money.
Yeah.
Right?
There you go.
Of
That's our
course.
money.
Because it's the district that's paying for
Let's
it.
talk about the media, because that's important. Let's talk about the fact that the superintendent had maintained. Look, I don't. Le estaba pegando los tarros to his wife. Congratulations, go on. It's not.
That's your life.
That's
Not
not the
our problem.
storyline. That's not the
Yeah.
storyline. The problem is that he was having an affair with the reporter that was in charge of reporting the news on education for the Miami Herald, which is the single biggest publication in all of Miami-Dade County.
So that's how these things kept flying under the radar.
We don't know. I mean,
We're
it's
not
part
entirely
of
sure.
where, you know, it's
We think
just-
that it has more to do with the presence. It was right before him getting selected as well. So then there was information that could have come out about him, maybe.
But if you have a
proactively looking.
relationship with local media,
Well, the proof is there. There's the emails that she was double
I
checking.
read through some of them.
She was double checking with him with her content, and there were times when he would get angry at her content, and she'd be like, "I'm sorry."
So
I
yeah,
didn't-"
I have an excerpt here where
Yeah?
it says
forgot about that.
Is it something PG rated or
Yeah,
is
yeah,
it
no,
no,
it's
we want
fine.
it all.
No, it's fine. No,
Scandalo.
it's nothing crazy. It just says it screams conflict.
Oh, but there is some crazy stuff in there. We're just not gonna cover it.
It screams right. It screams conflict of interest. One of the parts of the article said the most alarming part of the story is not the affair itself, is like you said, but how the affair distorted news coverage. Yeah, I mean, no shit, right? The emails show, I don't know how to pronounce her last name too well, Delusuriaga, I think is the woman's last name, attempting to shape her reporting to preserve her relationship with Carvalho. In the exchange, we see Carvalho argued with Delusuriaga about her coverage, and she apologizes, asking for quote-unquote understanding about not quoting him more and giving him more credit. That's
huge.
Massive.
That's huge. And it's like, what do you guys think? That these are the only kind of affairs
Yeah.
that these school board members aren't homies with people in the press.
They
Then I
are.
re-
They've got the PR firm that it literally hands the press over to them. Explain this, or riddle me this, Batman, right? So we've got this local Antifa group, right? Because
They're not real
Antifa. We've got this local Antifa group that magically pops up after the PR presence shows up at the school board meetings, right? We identify the PR woman because I'm a lunatic, and I caught her laughing at parents. Yeah. Laughing at parents in the audience, and when we start asking questions, we realize that this is the woman who manages.
Name her. What's her name? Sarah?
Sonia Diaz.
Sonia Diaz.
from-
That's why I didn't want to say the name. I knew I was
Sonia-
going to mess it up.
Sonia Diaz from Balsera Communications. They're a huge company. Most people would know them, and they actually represent a lot of Democratic candidates and a lot of maybe rhinos running for local office. So probably not a name that you want to associate your candidates with, but neither here nor there. Anyway, so shortly after this woman who's in charge of taking care of the image of the school board and the teachers union starts showing up at the meetings, this Antifa page pops up. This Antifa's page job, on their page is to call out fascists.
Yeah.
We live in Miami-Dade County.
Yeah.
Anti-communist fascists, as they call them, are literally everywhere. You could just go to Versailles, hang out in La Ventanita, and you
They're
can
all
probably
weird.
just
They're
hang
all
out with them.
fascists.
Right, absolutely.
They're all abuelo,
But
what is it that
somehow-
they say? Radicalized abuelos.
Radicalized abuelos. Somehow,
Rayo Mambi.
mind you, this
Oh
is
my God.
wasn't this
Throwback.
coinciding at the same time as the Viva Patria y Vida? It was more or less crowds of fascists everywhere. But somehow this Antifa page only cares to cover los nueve gatos that show up to the school board
Yeah.
meetings every time. That's all they care about. They care
Yeah.
about me and Linda and the 9 moms that are involved in it
Yeah.
all the time. So it's
And
like,
the
well,
Proud
that's
Boys.
it.
They're obsessed with the Proud Boys.
That's so interesting that somehow this Antifa page, who claims to hate fascists all over Miami,
Yeah.
only cares about the fascists that are showing up to school board meetings.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, is that the teachers union retweeting Antifa? That's strange.
So now the teachers union is retweeting a domestic terrorist.
Their Twitter account
Their
was
Twitter account.
retweeting a
Yeah.
domestic
They,
terrorist
in
account.
fact,
Yeah.
I'll be precise. The specific tweet that they reposted was
about
a
the parents.
doxing tweet of
Yeah,
parents.
Wow.
Yeah.
Doxing
We have it.
parents?
Why would the teachers union be reposting this account that is doxing, harassing, intimidating
We've got
parents
Antifa
into
people all
silence?
over the country being.
Right.
It's proven that they're a violent
They
organization.
are very violent.
They're a violent
And-
organization.
And let's not forget this. We were in DC last year, or sorry, not last year, 2020. I keep forgetting we're in 2022. And I personally, my hotel got attacked by Antifa. I have it on video. We have witnesses all over the place. DC was locked down because these people are far left extremists. They're
It's been
violent
proven.
and they're mentally ill.
And the teachers union
And the
has
teachers
absolutely
union-
no business
Yeah, the teachers
amplifying
union
these people.
Absolutely.
work with them.
Right.
They work with them.
And then you start getting this little Antifa page that's got what were they, like under 1,000 followers? Why are they getting quoted in the Miami New Times? Why is that being amplified by the Guardian?
Political.
Who do these people know in the press?
Everything's politically tied.
Yeah.
Explain to me how this little small Antifa account that only focuses on the fascists at school boards is getting recognition from national publications? No. Oh, wait a minute. That's right. They've got a multi-million-dollar PR firm behind them with a lot of connections to big
They all
media.
work together. It's been known for.
They all
I
work
mean,
together.
Besides that account, with it since like 2017.
Well, it was proven
the
in
media
Broward County. Hold
has
on.
always worked with Antifa.
It was proven in Broward
do their
County
dirty work.
that the school board was working with Antifa or had plans to.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way.
Wait,
the
where was
Broward County. In Broward County, they found that there was proof that they were going to. I don't think they ended up finding, look up the article, do your research. But they ended up finding proof that the school board was going to work. Was it, you know what, was it Broward or Palm Beach? Shoot. It was Broward or Palm Beach. They ended up finding proof that they were working in correlation with local Antifa groups to what? Intimidate parents. Intimidate
they do.
parents. That's what they do.
Wild.
That's what they do. They intimidate parents, and they make. What do you think happened? We started getting messages when the president says, "If you show up to a school board, you're a domestic terrorist," and and then you've got Antifa saying, "If you show up to one school board meeting, I'm going to dox you. I'm going to name your name, your address, your business. I'm going to make sure that people know who you are, so that you
Intimidation,
never
threats, yeah.
complete intimidation."
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought, but they've been it's absolutely clear how coordinated it is, and when you end up digging into it, what it is that they're trying to what they're so scared of exposing is that when you follow the money, which is the best thing that anybody can do, right? When you're doing your research, follow the money. It all leads back to the point that now I've made, which is the federal government is without a doubt using school boards and teachers unions to overstep on your rights. This isn't a parent thing. This is a citizen thing. The research is there and it proves it. The federal government is without a doubt using teachers unions and local school boards to overstep and have influence over local politics. The way that our country is set up is that Joe Biden should not have a say over what happens in Miami-Dade County.
Absolutely.
Right.
So how does Joe Biden get to have a say in what happens in Miami-Dade County? Well, you'd be surprised to find out that he can do that through the teachers unions.
Wow. That is massive.
It's huge. And not enough people are talking about it.
So this is essentially, I guess, the reason why they shut up moms at meetings when they try to bring up, sex scandals, and they turn off the mic to kick you out.
Yeah.
It all leads back to the money.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they want to shut down any voice of influence, and you take an organization like Moms for Liberty, for example,
what I
that's
wanted to
getting
talk
attention
about.
on a national level.
Yeah. So right now the media is, the media has different enemies. Obviously, Trump is still their number one enemy because it gives them ratings, and then they choose their targets. So right now, the media's number one target is this organization founded by two ladies. I don't know if they're from Florida, but it's called Moms for Liberty. Okay. So both of them used to be part of school boards. They were part of school boards in their districts, and I think one of them did not get reelected. So she joined the other one, and they started Moms for Liberty, and they're basically mom advocates for parent rights at schools.
At school board. So they encourage moms to show up to school board meetings and fight against CRTs and mask mandates and vaccination mandates.
So they've grown a lot. They just started last year. I don't even think they have 1 year in full, like a whole year. And the reason why I know that's because I just read this article, to go back to the media. I just read this article like about 7 days ago. And the article was this reporter, and she was basically saying that they're not a mom group, they're more than a mom group, and she's trying to paint them into this, again, the domestic terrorists, like, this school board member said from this county that she started getting death threats like once Moms for Liberty started to show up at school board meetings. They're trying to create this narrative that they're not just moms, that they're far right extremists with extremist views because of the mask, because of, I guess, the vaccine, because of the critical race theory, because of all these other things that they advocate against. And at the end of the article, the lady is like, almost like the author of the article is almost like asking, like, I'm asking the media to like make sure that they're not just moms, like you calling what they are, like almost like, like back me up, yeah. Like we gotta villainize them. Why? Because they've gotten a lot of shit done, and
pissed off moms can get a lot of things
done. They can get a lot of things done. And they, this one case also just came out, I think, last weekend, where somewhere in Michigan, I cannot remember the county, but there is this 3%ers. So the 3%ers are a militia group, okay? Militia, like their own little, what would you say, their own little army, like
I guess they're ready in the event that something pops off.
They got their own militia. Obviously, we're talking about these people live in like Michigan, like in the suburbs, whatnot. And there's two militia group members now sitting in the school board of this county.
Oh, wow.
And one of them dethroned, she ran against somebody that had experience, was in the district, had the backup, and she never expected to lose to a militia member. Wow. This is during the time when they're trying to demonize people, Trump supporters, as everyone's an insurrectionist, domestic terrorist, that everyone's a fascist, everyone's a far-right extremist. People don't give a fuck. Like, I don't know how else to explain this to you.
Well, they don't, because conservatism is the new punk rock.
They don't give a fuck. Like, I don't know how else to say it. The more you do this, the more you turn people off. We've talked about this before.
Yep. They've made it cool.
You're not turning moderates and center left, or center left people into center right people.
The left is losing the middle.
And it's losing its middle because you keep demonizing regular Americans who want to stand up for their rights and their beliefs
and their
freedoms into racist, bigots, xenophobe, blah, 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 domestic terrorists, right? It didn't stop at racist. Now it's domestic extremists. So there's two militia members now in a school board district, and the media's losing their mind. So their new target is moms.
They're losing
Moms for Liberty. So we have a lady here. We just met her last year. We're not, just to be clear, we're not affiliated with Moms for Liberty. We repost her stuff and whatnot, but we're not affiliated with them.
We want to help all moms and all parents.
Right. And there we have our own like chapter leader, whatever you want to call it, for Miami-Dade. Her name is Lolly.
She's the mom that you can see in my last video that the school board silenced her when she tried to bring up.
Right. Correct. So she has been showing up every single school board meeting talking. She collected, I think, like 250 signatures of parents who opposed the mask mandates. This was like last year, a few months ago, because the superintendent said, well, I only got like 11 emails. Like he basically said that like no parent came, or nobody cared about the mask mandate. So she's like, okay, well, I'm going to show up with like 50 signatures from 250. The guy never got back to her. So she's been fighting here at the local level. And last week she showed up to the school board meeting and her mic was cut off when she brought up the sexual allegation cases. She didn't even finish her sentence before they were like, oh, that's it, you're done, you're done.
One of the school
not to
board members
mention
shut it
that
off.
she had actually been chosen to share her story, daughter, immigrant, 6 kids in the public school system, yada,
grandma.
yada, yada. She's a grandmother.
grandma.
She was chosen to speak at an event with the governor, and Antifa completely destroyed her, doxed her business, her personal information out there.
These are the same people. I wanna point this out to your listeners. You're apolitical. You're not like us. Let's make that distinction. But here's the thing: when you accuse us of being fascists, extremists, radicals, da 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 da, we've never tried to ruin anyone's lives. Like, I may dislike your politics, even at places where we hang out together. Like, you'll never see me or her trying to damage people,
or even
dox,
silence.
intimidate, or silence because I don't like your views. If I don't like your views, I don't freaking follow you. I don't like Billy Corvin's views, I don't follow him. I don't care if he's still on the internet. I don't never would be like, oh, let me go report him because I hate this guy and I just want him off the internet. That is the left. That cancel culture comes from the left. It comes from Antifa. So what happens is these same people go online, hate the Proud Boys, call them misogynists, right? Oh, the Proud Boys are misogynists. They're the bad guy, blah, 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 domestic extremists. The Proud Boys are not the ones trying to leave moms jobless because they show up to school board meetings.
And
the Proud Boys are not coming after my business. They're not coming after her business. The Proud Boys are not the ones coming after moms.
Let's say something about the Proud Boys, because I think it's happening all over the country. There is an overwhelming lack of presence of the male figure at
fathers.
No fathers,
right.
No men. Mm-hmm. So I need you to understand that these are all women out there. 98% of the people at these meetings will be women, alone, vulnerable, with other women. And these agitators, these Antifa agitators show up.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm sorry, but the Proud Boys are the only people willing to stand outside of these school board meetings.
To protect mothers.
So if you want to start seeing less Proud Boys at these events,
then the fathers got to show up.
You got to start bringing your husbands, your brothers, your dads. Men have to start showing up.
Right.
And that's something that can be echoed across every effort in the movement of gaining our country
the media
back.
is talking about it. The media is saying Proud Boys have shifted their strategies literally on national news. They're not focusing on local politics. And the reason why is because, number one, they're citizens. Even if people don't like them, they can still show up. There's no rule or law to keep them away from showing up to the school board districts or commission meetings because they're citizens.
Yeah, it's public.
It's public. So number one, that's their right to do. And number two, they see that these agitators, there's far left agitators. There was this Antifa guy. His name is Caleb something, a white guy, does not belong here. I believe it's from California or another state. The guy is showing up masked up, to school board meetings.
Eyebrows shaved so that you can't recognize him.
Right. So you can recognize him with a mask up to here and a hat, He's showing up, he's sitting on the first row and he's writing down names of moms.
Wow.
Any person that gets up to talk, they write it down on their little name.
Yeah, we have
little
videos
notepad.
and pictures
To dox them later.
To then dox them later. Correct.
We're talking about human rights violations, and I'm sure there's going to be an investigation on all of this because it's beyond what they call freedom of speech. You can go and criticize people online. It's your freedom of speech. You want to make a meme about us, do it. But once you get into interfering with people's civil rights,
or even their livelihood,
you're in trouble.
Absolutely.
You're in trouble. You're in trouble.
There's a line you don't cross.
Yeah, there's a line you don't cross. So,
particularly not when we're talking about parents wanting to have a say in their kids.
Right.
What they're learning, how they're being treated.
So now,
this isn't extremist, not that there's anything wrong with that, but we're not even talking about anything that should be political. Parents' involvement in raising their kids should not be a political issue. Back off. Parents have a right to have a say in what happens with their kids. And here's another thing. if they don't listen to you, because this is really the only point that needs to be made, you need to show up to these school board meetings. And if your school board starts acting similar to how ours did, which is ignoring you, people need to start talking about pulling their kids out of school.
Mm-hmm.
These schools get paid per student that they have per day. Why do you think that they freak out whenever your kid doesn't show up to school one
Fuck
day?
with their money.
What is it? Like a couple, like
fucking with their
they call you, they text you, they do all these other things when you don't show up because it's their money. They get paid per student.
And
Yeah.
here you thought it
Per
was because they
attendance.
cared about their education.
Oh, they don't care about their
Look,
education.
we are a product of the Miami
Well, we
Dade County
deviated
School
from
Board
the
system.
situation with
So we've definitely covered a lot of territory in regards to the school system, the school board, and how deep and influenced this whole system gets. But I wanted to circle back on Carvalho and his departure, because he is no longer, I think as of February, the superintendent for Miami-Dade County Schools. He's going now to LA. I saw there's this rush to fill his position without really vetting anybody, and it's like, what is going on with this?
I think that the first thing that tells you is that Carvalho's really in a rush to get out of here.
Yeah.
Right. He knew
Because
that
of all this heat.
Well,
right.
he knows. First of all, he knows Linda and I on a first name basis. So he knew that the heat was coming. He knew that this was going to blow up and that there was just way too much attention being pumped into it, which I think goes back to the importance of like what happens when you get involved. If it wasn't for our very loud voices, the moms that have stayed on them, that they haven't, I mean, these moms are out at every meeting, every day they post
Yeah.
about it, every single day. If it wasn't for them, for people like Linda and I
Yeah.
spreading that message, this would have been brushed under the rug,
And he
and
would've
he would have
continued
stayed in
his-
his
He would've
cozy
continued.
position.
Yeah,
and
he's happy here. He has a nice gig. He makes a lot of money. He's well liked. He's well recognized.
he
by
had
our
a whole,
friends.
just 2 years ago or a few years ago, he got another offer and made national.
Oh,
it was
for New York.
huge for
I
New
remember.
York,
New
and he
York,
turned
and
it down to stay in Dade County.
Yeah. So, our sources within the district, and even to quote again the Homestead, what is it?
The Homestead Post.
Post, is that we know Carvalho was in a rush to leave because he knew that this was going to snowball, especially the sex scandals that had been going on. He didn't want to deal with parents anymore. He was sick and tired. He knows that he's going to go to a communist district where the UTLA or whatever, the teachers union over there, is
United.
even more influential. They're extremely powerful, and he can do whatever he wants. He's going to be comfortable. He's not going to get the heat that he gets here. This sexual allegation stuff is not going to follow him there, sadly.
Like hell it won't. We'll make sure of that.
Yeah, I mean, we already communicated everything that we know to the activists in LA. We have a network, I think, thankfully, all over the place. Like I just did.
We've got a lot of followers all over the country, so it gives us a national
Right.
reach, which is great
Right.
to bring attention to these things that, again, it doesn't just affect Miami-Dade County. It's
Yeah,
about
we relate all the
taking
message to
what
LA.
we've done in Miami-Dade County and like continuing to do that all
Right.
over the country. And that's how, we take the school boards back, how we take our country back.
This is important. This is work that a lot of people won't do, and it's,
Yeah, we're
it's good that
psychos.
you guys. I mean, hey, cycles
obsessed.
with a cause. You know what I mean?
Which is why, perfect segue, we need people to run for local politics.
Yes.
We've got
3 positions
four,
open.
it's 4 seats.
4 seats.
It's 4
in the
seats
school
that are
board.
open in the school
For
board
re-election.
for re-election in 2022
2022.
this year.
When is the election?
November.
So they got to go out
Midterm elections.
November.
Yes. Linda and I are working with an organization called Florida Women's Forward.
Mm-hmm.
You can find them online on social
Social
media.
media,
Florida
and-
_women's_ forward, I believe. And there is actually a page there's a page on our website about how you can get locally involved. And what we're asking for is actually nominations. So a lot of people maybe don't see themselves as somebody that would do good in a political position. So what we're asking is that we want you to nominate somebody that you think is a leader, somebody that comes from an honest place, honest individuals,
Yeah.
people that you
A
can
mom, a
vouch,
dad,
a doctor, a
even
teacher,
an educator, a retired educator.
or even not retired.
Right,
You
right.
can take some time off, kindergarten teacher, and come and join the school board and maybe do the other side. Do your civic duty. Do the right thing. Even if all you're doing is giving it 2 years of your life and then handing off the baton to somebody else, It's a part-time job. You get benefits for it. I mean, I'm not trying to sell you guys on the school board position as well, but we are asking that if you are one of these individuals that's fed up with the state of politics in our country, period, this is the way to get involved. Most politicians start their career in school board in school board positions. So again, if you guys would take the time, anybody who's listening here, if you know somebody that you think would be an amazing leader that we could rally behind, Linda and I will knock on every single door in Miami-Dade County to make sure that this individual gets elected.
In their district, obviously.
That's what we're trying to do with Florida Women's Forward, and we hope that we can direct people there and get some nominations, because we do have 4 open seats in the Miami-Dade County School Board that we're hoping will be taken by patriots, so that we can kick out these career politicians that don't have the best interest.
And here's an interesting part. It's that we are challenging the establishment. This used to be the left's position. Right? You remember the neoclassical liberal once upon a time was anti-big pharma, anti-big government.
Now it's the opposite.
Now it's the opposite. These people are pissed off that we're challenging the establishment. How does that make sense?
The ironies.
The irony. It's either you're protecting them for a reason because you're working with a PR company or you were sent by someone to do it, or that you're that dumb. Like it doesn't make any sense, especially if you're and if you come from the same side that's always talking about the system is built by white supremacy and the system is against us and blah 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 blah. But now you want to protect the system
and give more.
It makes no sense. Why do we want? Like I don't like Mitch McConnell. He's a Republican. Like I don't want him in power anymore. I want him to be out of there. He's a freaking dinosaur.
Well, I mean, we
he's
say it all the time.
He's a Republican, and I don't have a problem with that. But it's so weird that the other side has a problem when it's us that want to challenge and bring in new blood to the local establishment.
Yeah, and I mean, just so that we're clear, like this isn't like a Democrat or a Republican thing. Linda and I have talked about this several times publicly. Like we will attack. I have more to ask of a Republican candidate acting like a Democrat than I do of a Democrat.
Yeah.
I will hold Republicans more accountable than I will with Democrats sometimes, because you're supposed to be working for us. So this isn't a political issue. I don't think that anything on the school board should be politicized, to be quite frank with you. So your political affiliation isn't what we're concerned with. What we're concerned with is the well-being. Do you believe we need school board members that believe in parents having a say?
That's a good clarification for everybody.
I might disagree with you, but you are the parent and you get a say in what happens with your child.
We don't need activists. We don't need you to teach your kids about MAGA, just like we don't need to teach your kids about BLM. Do you understand? Like we need you to teach kids what you go to school for. Geometry, math, history, whatever it is. We don't need you to put a rainbow flag. We don't need you to put a BLM flag. Like your little activism has to stay out of the classroom. And this is a problem. This is a big problem. There's an account, and I suggest you follow it because it's actually very entertaining, and everybody else that's going to listen to this. Libs of TikTok. They have exposed teachers all year long. They have actually gotten teachers fired. And a lot of teachers like to go on TikTok, these new teachers, like the non-binary, the trans, different.
With their ideologies.
And they go in there and they're dumb enough to be like, well, I'm teaching my 4th graders about,
we don't pledge allegiance to the flag. We pledge allegiance to the LGBT flag.
Right. Like there's been so much of this. Actually, Project Veritas is one that exposed an Antifa teacher who had an Antifa flag in his classroom. Correct. The guy, I think it's on leave or something like that. So they do this all over the place. They do it in private schools. We had the big scandal really quickly. Schools. This is a very juicy scandal. Miami-Dade Country School, a wealthy elite. I'm talking about like Adriana's kids probably go there. I'm talking about the elite of Miami. These parents pay like $41,000 a year, $50,000 a year for these kids to go there, and it's a woke school.
Like a UM tuition.
Yeah, it's like a like
it's a salary. It's a teacher's salary.
Literally, and an elite school, and the kids are taught all sorts of.
The scandal was that they had a drag show for the students.
For the students,
they brought
in a black man dressed as a woman cheerleading in stilettos, and they were teaching them what was it called? They call it Vogue dancing, which is basically like what the drag queens do, that they drop on the floor and this whole thing, and then they wanted the kids
real
to go
scandal
there.
though is that none of the parents were aware that this was happening.
None of them were aware, and the kids, a lot of the kids, even the ones
I remember reading about this, and the phones were taken away.
Right,
They were
well.
being
right.
silenced.
The kids were being silenced, and then
It's shady, yeah.
more came out about how woke the school is, how they make him take like LGBT friendly courses,
Conservative
and that the
kids
teachers
are
have
casted
BLM,
aside.
and all these stuff, and like, you know, a lot of the kids are conservative. They come from conservative families. And it is my understanding that the school is in big trouble because about 12 parents or something like that want to sue the school. So, I mean, this is happening also outside of the public school education.
Right.
This is also private schools. Imagine paying that much for your kid. Imagine being a very wealthy individual and your kid comes out a communist because you sent them to the wrong school.
Doesn't it all come down to the same thing, which is that as long as you're paying attention, these people can't do what they want to do. So whether it's
when the cat's away,
private
the
schools,
mouse will play.
public schools, your local city commissioner, your mayor, your governors, it doesn't matter what it is. These people are supposed to be working for you. And as long as you've got something better to do, whether it's Netflix or laundry or your work or dinner with your friends, whatever it may be, as long as you're not making time for this, no different than you make time for the gym or that you make time to go visit your grandma.
If you're a parent, you can go to one school board meeting a month.
There's one school
Don't
board
tell me
meeting
that
a
you
month.
can't do
Fine.
one school board meeting a month.
And if you're a pissed
Not-
off citizen,
Yeah.
and you're, you know, if you post about politics on your page and you're always talking about how much you hate the left and oh my God, I can't believe Joe Biden's my president or whatever, dude, one meeting. Can you imagine if 1,000 Miami residents tried to show up to a
one
school board
They
meeting?
had the same energy as like the MAGA, like little.
No, forget the MAGA. If they had the same energy as the Versailles, Patria
Right, those
Libre,
are the same
like,
people.
this is the thing that I don't understand. We've got Gente Sonar, whoever it is, throwing concerts in Versailles, and we're talking about liberating Cuba. Guys, that's it. It's done. We're here. We're first generation Americans. A lot of us, our parents brought us here so that we can live freely because there was an appreciation for freedom, for the liberties of the of La Yuma. Like it's something that's you're supposed to be proud of that. And instead of protecting that, we're watching it that it's being taken from us. The same way that it was taken from our families, and no one's doing anything. You're in Versailles by the thousands,
trying to fight for a country that's not even your country anymore.
and
dude.
you don't even know who's sitting on your
ridiculous.
school board.
That's a
So
good way
you
to
don't
put it,
know
yeah.
who's making the decisions. It's like, it's particularly in this county. The fact that we have open communist teachers in this county
Should outrage
teaching communist ideology in the Miami-Dade County public school system. This city is made up of a 78% Cuban American population. It's like if there's anywhere in the country where teachers should not be talking about communism,
this one.
it's here. So if they're doing it here, can you imagine what they're doing all over the country? It needs to end, and it needs to end with us. I mentioned earlier that we were one of the most influential school districts. If we, the citizens of Miami-Dade County, came together to truly force these people to do the will of we the people and not we the teachers union, if we force that, the entire country is watching that. We can show people that we can take the country back. We can quite literally take the country back. And I know that it sounds like, oh, this lunatic, but it is that simple. Show up to a school board meeting once a month. Show up to a commission meeting once a month. These things are done on Zoom too. It's not even just for the act of showing up. It's for the act of wanting to know what the hell these people are planning or going on. Turn it on. Put on your pods on and turn on the meeting on Zoom. The majority of the time, they're available on Zoom too. It's just the lack of caring about it and expecting that someone else is taking care of it. Someone else is showing up. Someone else is fighting those people. Somebody else is keeping the checks and balances. No, it was always supposed to be us. And as long as we don't each individually, we wake up every single day fighting it. We're in an active Cold War. And every single day, each one of us steps onto the battlefield. And every day that you take a passive stance and you're like, maybe I'll go to the next school board meeting, or I don't even know who runs in my district, or every day that you make the decision to remain ignorant to this is a day that you're losing the war.
Absolutely. Again, it boils down to getting involved, to paying attention to what's going on. In regards to those 3 or 4 positions that you guys spoke to about, once there's people officially as candidates? Where can people find out who the candidates are and what they represent?
Florida Women's Forward is going to be
Everything will be on there.
everything will be on
Education,
there.
they do a lot of
We're
education.
already posting a lot of information about basic common things that people don't understand, like how many districts are in Miami-Dade County, who makes the decisions on the superintendent, who do you call, what days are the school board meetings. So Florida Women's Forward is a great resource, and it's going to continue to be a great resource, and we hope that we can have a much bigger influence on local politics. We're very proud of what it is that we've accomplished so far. We're really looking to take it to the next level this year.
That's awesome. Thank you, ladies, so much for showing up today.
Thanks
Thank you for having us.
For your time, for your conversation, for your hard work. Thank you. If you guys want to follow Linda or Red Pill Babe, what's your at?
I'm on Red Pill Babe 1776 on Instagram, and t.me/Red Pill Babe B with an extra E on Telegram.
Linda?
And I am on Telegram and Instagram as at Wake Up with Linda, and we'll have a special project soon, I guess, right?
We got a lot of
We
things
got
in
stuff
the
coming
works.
up. Yep.
We got
You
stuff.
guys
We got
keep
fun stuff
busy
in
for
the
sure.
works.
You guys,
We're plotting.
You've seen
Always
us.
plotting.
You see us plotting.
I
You
see
see
you
you.
guys.
You see us in a
I
corner
see you
plotting
guys.
all the time.
If any of
we
us
do.
go missing after this episode, please avenge our disappearance. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll catch you on the next one. Y como siempre, no te se meta con nadie para que nadie se las meta. See you soon. Bye-bye.